Alright, let me tell you how I ended up practically giving my HOA president a migraine and getting a judge to shut them down in about 5 minutes flat. And trust me, I didn't wake up that morning planning to become the neighborhood rebel. But hey, sometimes you gotta stand your ground when people lose their damn minds over something as dumb as window shades. So, I'm Emma Foster, 35, work-from-home project manager, sarcasm included, free of charge. I live in this fancy subdivision in Arizona where every house looks like the same beige Lego block. Honestly, I only bought here because the backyard's got mountain views and my dog, Gus, can run around like a maniac without getting cactus spines in his paws. I thought the worst HOA drama I'd ever deal with would be them telling me to pull my trash bins in faster. Boy, was I naive. One summer afternoon, I get this letter taped to my door. Not mail taped. So it's practically screaming Karen was here. It's from the HOA telling me I'm in serious violation because my living room window shades are, quote, non-conforming and aesthetic disharmony in the community, which is just HOA code for we've got nothing better to do than control how you live your life. Turns out my shades are these soft, pale gray rollers. They came with the house. But according to Karen, real name Cheryl, but she's pure Karen, the community guidelines only allow white or off-white treatments visible from the street. And Karen insists my gray shades clash with the uniform community look. I'd barely finished reading the letter when Karen herself showed up on my doorstep like she'd been lurking in my bushes. She's got that tight-lipped smile and a binder thicker than War and Peace. She starts going off about how my window shades could devalue property values and that the HOA was fining me $25,000 if I didn't replace them ASAP. $25,000 over window shades. I said, "Are you high?" She blinked at me like she didn't understand English. "This is very serious, Emma. The HOA board has unanimously agreed." I told her to get off my porch. She left in a huff, practically hugging her binder like it was life support. At first, I thought maybe I'd just change the shades. But then I dug out the HOA documents. Turns out the only rule about window treatments said they must be neutral in color and professionally installed. That's it. Nowhere did it say must be white. So I emailed Karen and politely attached screenshots of the actual bylaws. She replied one line, "See you in court." Okay, Karen. A few days later, I got official papers from the HOA's attorney. They were legit suing me for violating community standards. $25,000 in fines, plus attorney fees. I nearly choked on my coffee. My boyfriend, Derek, thought I should cave. "Babe, it's just shades. Pick your battles." But nah, this was the hill I was willing to die on. Karen doubled down by sending a blast email to the whole community. She framed it like I was destroying property values and refusing to cooperate. Next thing I knew, neighbors were giving me side-eye when I walked Gus. Even Mr. Patil, who used to wave every day, started pretending he didn't see me. So, fine. If Karen wanted a war, I'd give her one. I lawyered up. I found an attorney named Paula who specializes in HOA disputes. She read through the HOA rules and burst out laughing. This is textbook overreach. Karen's gonna hate me. Meanwhile, Karen kept stirring the pot. At the next HOA meeting, she made this big speech about how people like me erode the community spirit. She even tried to introduce a new bylaw on the spot banning gray shades. It was like watching someone try to pass a law mid-game because they were losing. Then the threats escalated. Karen claimed she'd file liens on my house. Paula told me, "They're bluffing. You can't file a lien without winning in court first. Let them embarrass themselves." Still, the stress was eating me alive. My neighbors started gossiping that I must be hiding something if I wouldn't change my shades. One neighbor, Lisa, cornered me while I was picking up Gus's poop and said, "You're bringing shame to our street." "Lady, I'm holding a bag of dog crap. How much more shame do you think I can handle?" Finally, my court date rolled around. Paula and I showed up at the county courthouse, bright and early. Karen strutted in wearing a power suit like she was starring in her own Law and Order episode. She brought 2 board members, and yes, the binder came too. Before we went in, Paula nudged me and whispered, "By the way, one of the judges here just moved into your community. Let's pray it's him." We get called in. And guess who's sitting on the bench? Judge Ramirez. He bought the house 3 doors down from me 2 months ago. I'd waved to him once while he was unloading a moving truck. Karen practically turned purple. She tried to ask for a different judge because of potential bias, but Ramirez shut that down immediately. "I'm perfectly capable of impartiality." Karen's lawyer made this long-winded argument about how my gray shades visually disrupt the cohesive aesthetic. Ramirez raised one eyebrow and asked, "Do the HOA rules specifically ban gray shades?" Karen's lawyer sputtered, "Well, no, but..." Ramirez cut him off. "So your entire case is based on personal preference, not a documented rule?" Karen jumped up like she was on fire. "Your Honor, she's destroying property values. It's a slippery slope. Today it's gray shades, tomorrow neon curtains." The courtroom went dead silent. Ramirez pinched the bridge of his nose and muttered, "This is not a matter for this court. The HOA has no authority to fine someone for something that's not prohibited in the bylaws." He turned to Karen and said, "Case dismissed. You have no grounds." Boom. 5 minutes. Game over. Karen looked like she'd bitten into a lemon. Her lawyer tried to salvage it, asking for costs or at least an injunction. Ramirez said, "Denied." As we left, Ramirez leaned over and whispered, "By the way, I have pale gray shades, too. Let me know if they try to come for me." Outside, Karen was practically hyperventilating. Paula smiled sweetly and said, "See you at the next HOA meeting, Cheryl." I thought that was the end of it. But Karen's not one to admit defeat. She decided to retaliate. A week later, she filed a code compliance complaint with the city claiming my backyard landscaping violated zoning laws. I thought, of course she did. So I invited the city inspector over. He showed up, clipboard in hand, and I nearly fell over laughing. It was Judge Ramirez's brother, Carlos. I kid you not. Small world. He took one look around my backyard and said, "This is gorgeous. I'm writing you up for absolutely nothing. Good luck with your neighbor, though." Karen's second attempt to ruin me went down in flames. A couple weeks later, the HOA held its monthly meeting. Karen tried to pass that new rule about banning gray shades. Except by then, my neighbor Mr. Patil stood up and said, "Enough. This is not why we pay HOA dues." Then Lisa, dog poop Lisa, surprised me by saying, "I thought Emma was being difficult, but Karen, you've gone too far." Turns out my fight made everyone start digging into the HOA's finances and found out Karen had been spending HOA money on all kinds of weird consultant fees and fancy office chairs for the HOA clubhouse. The board voted her out as president that night. She stormed out in tears. Honestly, I almost felt bad. Almost. Couple days later, I get an anonymous card in my mailbox with a Starbucks gift card and a note that said, "Thanks for standing up to the HOA bullies." No signature. But I've got a suspicion it was Mr. Patil. Since then, the neighborhood's been downright friendly. Ramirez waves at me every time I walk Gus. Even Lisa invited me over for wine. I kept my shades up, obviously. And Karen? She put her house up for sale a month later. I hear she's moving somewhere with no HOA. I'd say that's poetic justice. So that's how I got threatened with a $25,000 fine over window shades and ended up flipping the whole HOA power structure on its head. And how Judge Ramirez basically saved me in 5 minutes flat. If there's one thing I learned, know your HOA rules better than your HOA does. And never underestimate how far a Karen will go to try to make you miserable. Anyway, I'm curious though you guys think I was right to fight back. Or should I have just swapped the shades and kept the peace? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoyed my story, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more wild HOA tales and neighborhood dramas. And hey, share your own HOA horror stories. I'd love to hear them.